$650 million. Somewhere in this building tonight, that number is moving through screens no one outside this floor will ever see. By morning, it will change markets. But right now, you are just the person carrying the coffee. Everyone starts somewhere in the system. The elevator doors open on the 43rd floor at 12 minutes past midnight. No one is waiting for you. The office is empty except for the light, cold, blue, humming from a row of terminals that were never turned off. Somewhere in those screens is a number that will move markets by morning. You are the only person in the building who does not know what it is. You are here because someone asked you to be here. That is all you know. That, and the fact that the coffee in your hand is getting cold. You are 23 years old. The alarm is set for 5:40. You arrive at the building before anyone with a title. You learn the coffee orders before you learn the org chart. You learn the names of assistants before you learn the names of partners. This is intentional. The assistants know everything. You are an analyst, technically, but in practice you carry things. You sit in rooms where decisions are made and you do not speak. You are, in the language of the industry, a resource. There is a particular exhaustion that lives here. Not the exhaustion of labor, the exhaustion of proximity, of being close to something enormous and having no power over any of it. The money does not feel real. It feels like a language you are just beginning to learn. The ambition at this level is raw. It is simply a force, a pressure behind the eyes that keeps you at your desk when the rest of the floor has gone quiet. You do not question where this leads. Not yet. 2 years pass, maybe 3. The title changes. The work changes slightly. The hours do not change. The coffee is now brought to you once by someone newer than you. You notice how you feel when this happens. You file that feeling away. You produce the documents that partners will present as their own work. And this is not resentment, because you understand how the machine is structured. Knowledge flows upward. Credit flows upward. In exchange, money flows downward, in amounts calibrated to keep you engaged but not comfortable. You begin to observe the men at the top. There is no urgency in their movements. They speak in a register that is quiet and final. They are always performing certainty, and the performance is so complete that you cannot tell where it ends and reality begins. You begin to mimic this. You slow your speech. You learn to pause before answering. You understand that hesitation, deployed correctly, reads as depth. You are learning the language of power, not the language of finance, the language of the people who control it. The first ethical compromise is small. They always are. A client wants a valuation that supports a decision they have already made. The numbers, done cleanly, do not support the decision. You adjust the assumptions. Nothing illegal, just adjustable. Every model has assumptions. You choose the ones that produce the number the client needs. The deal closes. Your year-end bonus reflects this. There is no dramatic moment of internal conflict. There's only a brief awareness, like touching something briefly too hot. And then the awareness fades because the day continues, and there are other models to build. You sit in first class for the first time and register it. The width of the seat, the silence, the curtain that draws closed between you and the back of the plane. You understand this is not luxury, it is a signal. Class is expressed in access to quiet. You are no longer surprised by money. When money stops feeling large, your relationship to risk changes. You will tolerate things at this level that would have been unthinkable at the first. You have access to decision makers now, not the men at the very top, the men one level below them, the men who have their ear. This distinction matters more than any compensation figure. Access is the real currency, and you are beginning to accumulate it. Your calendar is managed by someone else. You are in meetings that determine the fates of companies you will never visit in cities you will never see. You vote on things in rooms with no windows. The results are announced in press releases that you will not read. You begin to understand that much of what you believed was expertise is actually confidence. The people at the top are not always smarter. They are simply more comfortable in the presence of incomplete information. They have made peace with not knowing. The ones who cannot make peace with not knowing never reach this floor. A part of you is always somewhere else. In the next meeting, the next quarter, the next deal. The people in your life have adapted to this. They have stopped expecting the part of you that is somewhere else to come back. This is not remarked upon. It is simply the way things are now. You control capital now, not your capital. Theirs, the institutions, the endowments, the sovereign funds, the family offices. They have given you their money to deploy, which means they have given you power over their futures. You manage this power with the same affect you have been practicing for a decade, calm, certain, opaque. The deals are no longer about numbers. The numbers have become abstract even to you. The deals are about positioning, about which table you will be invited to next. You have begun, almost without deciding to move in circles that include politicians. Not as a voter, as a donor. As someone whose opinion is solicited. The transition from citizen to constituency builder is so gradual that you did not mark the moment it happened. One day you are writing a check. The next you are on the phone with a senator's chief of staff. Neither event feels dramatic. Both are simply part of the same operating environment. Your moral framework has not collapsed. It has simply become more sophisticated. The list of things you would not do has grown shorter, but you do not think of it this way. You think of it as clarity. There is a particular silence at this altitude. You have been in rooms where the decision being made will affect the employment of 40,000 people. There is no visible weight to the decision. There is analysis, process, a vote, and then dinner. The 40,000 people are not in the room. They are a number on a slide. This is not cruelty. It is scale. At scale, individuals become statistical distributions. This is not taught. It is absorbed. Your net worth is now a number that, if spoken aloud in certain contexts, would change the nature of every relationship in the room. You have stopped speaking it aloud. It exists in a different mental compartment, managed by professionals, growing according to its own logic. You have begun to think about legacy, not wealth transfer, something structural. A fund, a firm, an institution, something with your logic embedded in it, something that will make decisions you would have made long after you are no longer making decisions. The phone call comes from a government, not a government official, a government, a sovereign entity that controls territory and population and policy and would like, quietly, to understand your perspective on something. You are, at this level, a node in a network that has no name and no headquarters. It is a network of people who have earned through decades of specific maneuvering the right to know things before they happen. The network does not announce itself, but it operates with remarkable consistency across geographies and decades. You attend conferences that are not reported on. The decisions that emerge from them do not appear in any filing. They appear weeks or months later as market movements, as policy shifts, as diplomatic realignments that commentators on television will attribute to other causes. There is very little emotion at this level, not because the emotions have been destroyed, because they have been relocated. You feel things over years, not moments. A decision you made 4 years ago produces a feeling now. The feeling is not exactly satisfaction. It is something quieter, something closer to the confirmation of a hypothesis. There is a level above the visible hierarchy. It does not have a title. It is the level at which individuals stop operating inside the system and begin operating as the system. The question is no longer what to do with capital. The question is what structure to build that will determine how capital flows for the next generation. The levers are foundations, universities, media relationships, political access, The slow accumulation of the power to make certain things seem inevitable that were not inevitable. The most powerful people at this level are not household names. Fame is a liability at this altitude. Access is preserved by obscurity. The most important thing to understand about this level is not what these individuals have. It is what they have lost. They have lost the texture of ordinary time. The afternoon that belongs to no one. The conversation that leads nowhere. The meal eaten slowly because there is nothing else to do. In exchange for control over enormous systems, they have surrendered the unstructured hours that most people consider simply being alive. Whether this is a trade worth making is not a question the system allows them to ask. By the time they have reached this level, the question itself has become inaccessible. Not suppressed. Inaccessible. Like a language not spoken since childhood, the system is older than any of the individuals inside it. It predates the firms. It predates the financial instruments. It predates the cities where the glass towers stand. It is a pattern, a recurring arrangement of ambition and capital and hierarchy and power that appears in every sufficiently complex civilization. It is not good. It is not bad. It is structural. The individuals are interchangeable. The structure persists. The terminals still glow. The city lights are still below the glass. The $650 million is somewhere. It has moved, been multiplied, been divided, deployed into assets that throw off returns that are being reinvested. It does not sleep. It does not have a name. It is capital, and capital has its own momentum, older and more durable than any of the people who believe they are directing it. And somewhere below, right now, in the lobby of a glass tower in a city where deals are made in the dark, a 23-year-old walks through the revolving door. They are wearing a new suit, slightly wrong in some way they cannot identify. They have a number in their head, not 650 million, something smaller, something personal, something that represents the distance between where they are and where they intend to be. They do not yet know that the number will change, that the ambition will be refined by proximity and reshaped by compromise, and eventually transformed into something so different from its original form that the person who carried it through that door will be almost unrecognizable. They take the elevator. They are going up. The doors close.